All right. I think we're live. It's saying we're live. It's thinking about being live. I screwed this up the last 2 times, so I'm just making extra sure. This technology is not my strength. All right, cool. And we'll record it just to be safe. All right. Good morning, rock stars.
Good morning.
I'm gonna keep admitting people, but I'm super excited. So you guys know that we bring in different people from time to time, and always people that are near and dear to me. And today we have Hank Avink, who is one of my favorites. We're totally like brother, sister. Sometimes we love each other. Sometimes we're gonna kill each other. Just always know that I win. So Hank, I don't know if y'all have experienced Hank before. If you're in family tree much, he does a lot of coaching. Hank, Mitch, Rich, and I all created Family Tree. Hank was one of the top coaches with Keller Williams Maps Coaching. He is one of the top coaches in the nation. So we're in for a treat today. So I'm not going to talk, but I'm going to let Hank take it away and bring the fire this morning on our Friday morning huddle. So Hank, meet the team.
Fantastic. I see a few familiar faces on here. I see Jen Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't always get off on the right foot with people because if you don't know me, you might not like me. And here's why. My goal isn't to be neutral and have everybody love me. My goal is to help impact people, which means sometimes I'll get it wrong, or sometimes I'll push on a pain point, or sometimes I'm just an asshole. So anybody relate to that, or is everybody always perfect?
I'm perfect.
So like Elizabeth said, my name's Hank and I'm here to serve. So I'd like to just ask a few questions. What would the people on this call like to get from today? What made you show up besides respecting Elizabeth enough to show up?
Don't be quiet this morning, y'all.
I think accountability for me is huge always, just because, this Friday meeting for whatever reason tends to get in the way of things, and I'm making it more of a priority. So that's number one. And also just to connect with people and keep the energy high while we're, in more of a virtual environment, our office space anyway.
Perfect. I like that.
And learn, of course, and learn. I didn't know you were going to be here, Hank, but that's exciting for me.
And Jen, is what we have in common just between us, or am I allowed to speak towards that?
You could speak about it. Yeah.
Perfect. So I've been listening to this book, and I'm not all the way through it. However, I would highly recommend it based on what I've heard so far. And it's a book called Buy Your Time Back. Who besides me came to EXP for more freedom and the opportunities that this platform allowed? Say aye.
Right.
So one of the things that it talks about in there is different slayers, is I believe the word that it uses. And many of us, oftentimes we numb ourselves in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through work, which I'm guilty of at times. In fact, I know that working comes more naturally to me than being a father or being a husband. And I have to be very careful of just working all the time because, frankly, it's much easier to work and it's much more rewarding in the short term. And sometimes my family sucks. Couldn't be me, of course. Come on, give me some feedback here. And
I'm telling you, they're quiet this morning. You guys, it's not going to fly with Hank.
One of the things that I talked about was alcohol. And I think one of the biggest challenges in our industry is so much of our industry revolves around alcohol. And so on June 22nd of last year, I decided to stop drinking. Now, there was 3 reasons for that. One reason was my father-in-law had entered hospice right about this time last year. My father-in-law lives next door to me. He's one of my best friends I've ever had in my life. And he recently laid down to rest a little over a month ago. I don't know about you guys. This was my first big experience with grief, and I knew I didn't want to numb myself going through it with alcohol, just because I knew this was going to be a difficult time. Second thing was, I looked up, and my marriage after 18 years wasn't where I wanted it to be. We have 5 kids in our household right now, 3 that are ours, and then 2 bonus babies from Azerbaijan that are exchange kids. and just wasn't where I wanted it to be. And alcohol had always been kind of that pebble in the shoe. And then thirdly, we've had some assaults in our company at events. And I say alleged, which I think is a bunch of crap. However, we had some sexual assaults, and frankly, I think alcohol was not helping in those situations. So it was my way to raise awareness around the fact that we need to be having more conversations around those touchy subjects. So I could feel the energy change right there. How many of us need to be adults and be able to talk about adult conversations? All of us, right? So here's what I'm going to ask that we do. Every single one of us are prone to numb ourselves in some way, shape, or form. What do you use to numb yourself? Is it alcohol? Is it pornography? Is it chaos? Elizabeth, I didn't mean to look at you there, but
It could be
Is it work? Is that what you're gonna say?
food.
by the way, Elizabeth is a beast in what she's been able to accomplish, and the number of people that she's been able to help just makes me smile. And so what I'm going to ask that we do is, awareness is transformational in and of itself. So my encouragement to all of you is to be honest with yourselves and ask yourself better questions. One of the questions that helped me, the best term for me probably is sober curious, because I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic. However, I didn't think that alcohol was serving me. Was, do I want the relationship? Do I want my kids to have the relationship that I have with alcohol? And when I asked myself that question, I was like, wow, no, I don't. And sometimes if we want different results, we have to ask ourselves better questions. So I'm going to have you rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 on your skill set of asking questions. If I look at the amount of sex that I've had in my life, it's in direct correlation with the amount of the level of questions that I've asked. Nobody even got that. Good God, you guys need to wake up. I just said the amount of sex that I have in my life, and you guys were like fucking like a mortuary going.
I didn't know where you were going with it. I was like, huh?
By the way, Hank has a potty mouth at times, just I forgot to warn y'all.
Well, here's the reason. There's no hidden agenda with me, except I want to help you. So I'm gonna ask that we look at our ability to ask questions,
it's right
because the
there.
better questions we ask, the more likely we are to get the outcomes that we're looking for. So who believes that they're above a 6 when it comes to asking questions? Raise your hand. Jen, okay. Who believes they're above an 8? Okay, Andrea, I'm going to pick on you. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Andrea, where are you from?
I'm from Alaska, currently in California.
There's a difference. Welcome. What makes you believe that you're above an 8 on asking questions?
I have an inquisitive mind. I'm continuously asking. I am really wanting to get a lot from this meeting today. I've been taking a break, taking care of my mom, and heading home in 10 days. And I'm excited to get busy. I haven't been busy as I wanted to be. Life just turned for me, and I need to ask a lot of questions, just like how to log on today. I wasn't able to press on Calendly. It was sending an old email at.
I applaud you for taking care of your mom. And here's the reality. Many of us are going to get punched in the jaw in life. And my question to you is, are you doing everything when you're not getting punched in the jaw so that when you do, it's easier? It was very easy for me to take a step back and walk my father-in-law across the rainbow, so to speak, because I didn't have to worry about money. See, 13 years ago when my son was born and had to have open heart surgery, I had 28 listings at the time. I had no assistant. And when my son was born and we found out they had to have open heart surgery, I was not in a good place. How many of you think that having no assistant and 28 listings when your son's about to have open heart surgery caused a lot of chaos, not only for my family, because I didn't have a business, I had a job, where if I didn't show up, I didn't get paid. And I had 28 clients that depended on me. And I had to make the choice every day of whether or not to go to the hospital or serve my clients. And I made a declaration at that point that there would be a point in my life where I never had to worry about money again. and I could just do what I needed to do. Who wants that sort of freedom? Okay, so here's what we need to do. We need to figure out the math. So Andrea, normally what I do is this: I ask you a bunch of questions, then the person gives me a bunch of statements, and then like I make a fool out of you and say, you suck at asking questions because you didn't ask me one question. All you did was give statements, but because you've been dealing with your mom, I thought that I'd be a little bit nicer to you. And see, Elizabeth, I do have empathy every once in a
You
while.
do. I know,
Just
I'm
an
seeing-
ounce.
I'm seeing a softer side of Hank this morning.
So what I found was a lot of times we don't ask enough questions. We make a lot of assumptions. So for example, like scaling from a score of 0 to 10, you don't know how I'm guessing on a scale of 0 to 10. Are you comparing it to where you were? Or are you comparing it to me? Or are you comparing it to Diana Kokoska, one of my mentors on asking questions? A lot of times what we do is we start giving prescription without a proper diagnosis.
Good point.
One of the sayings that I learned from that same mentor was prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. I think all of us need to do a better job of properly diagnosing before we start giving prescription, because the answer for me might be different for the answer for Elizabeth. Who thinks that in the same question, a man that has 5 kids under his house versus a man who's been retired for 20 years, the same question could be a different answer because of different context and different situations? So what we got to do is we got to do a better job asking questions. So how many of you would like greater accountability like Jen was talking about? Raise your hand, please. Couple of you. I'm going to give you a term that helped transform my level of accountability, and it's called switch cost. In fact, if you're sitting somewhere, go ahead and write that down because that'll help with your subconscious and help with remembering. It's called switch cost. And it's one of those things that it's kind of like drywall. Everybody can do it. Few can do it well. And switch cost, what it does is you've got, come on, Courtney, you're being that gal. Good God, mute her, will you, Elizabeth? Nothing but love, Courtney. How many of you are thinking the same thing? I just said it. That's the joy of running with me, is oftentimes I say what people are thinking. And here's the reality. If somebody gets offended by that, here's what it tells me. What it tells me is they're not at responsibility. And let's look at the levels of energy. Who wants to be around a victim? Oh my gosh, it wasn't my fault. I'm on my phone. I didn't see that it was off. Victims. I don't want to be around victims. So you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to offend victims. I'd like to piss them off. I'd like to get them away from me. Because here's the thing is, a victim will never take responsibility. Next thing is anger. If Courtney would have been like, screw you, asshole, blah. I'm like, okay, well, let's get it out. Here's what I like about anger versus victim. At least there's some energy around it, and we can flip somebody from anger into responsibility. Responsibility is the lowest level of energy that I will surround myself with, because could you imagine if our whole world was at the level of responsibility? How much better would our world be if everybody was at the level of responsibility?
You mean the bare minimum?
Oh, the bare minimum, just the bare minimum. It would change everything. So let's go back to switch cost. How do we make the pain of not doing something greater than the pain of doing it? So who would like my rev share formula? I believe I have the most profitable, best rev share tree of anybody in this company based on energy in versus energy out. Doesn't mean that I have the largest one. Doesn't mean that I have the best one from a lot of different ways yet. Here's what I've done. I've spent 5 hours a week building my rev share since 2016, and I make over $500,000 a year. I don't have a job. I don't have obligation, and I don't have promises that I haven't kept. Who would like to spend 5 hours a week to build a rev share organization that has 1,000+ people, and it serves you, you don't serve it? So here's what it looks like. An hour a day. And here's what I'm going to teach you today is what's called my success code. Henry, what are you laughing at?
Your success code is beautiful. Is it
Thank
a
you. It's tattooed on my hand, and this was my unemployment tattoo. And I thought that this would make sure that I never got employed again. And I was wrong there, but I digressed. So you've got skill set, time on task, experimentation until you get a victory and you get confidence. So I joined on March 1st, 2016. So I now have over 1,100 people. How many people do you think I had in my first year? Who can guess?
12.
3.
Zero.
Ooh.
Zero. Here's why. When I came over, it took 3 months to become part of the MLS. I couldn't sell for 3 months. Oh, by the way, I was under a 1-year non-compete against KW and they're coming after me. How do you think that worked out for me when I couldn't list homes for 3 months because EXP couldn't figure it out? Not good. But here's what I hear. Oh, Hank, you're lucky. You got in early. Shut up, victim. There's nothing lucky about that. It was terrible when we first got here. So what was my energy like around EXP when it took 3 months for me to just get my MLS up and running? It was down. Yet here's what I did. I spent 5 hours a week working on skill set and time on task with the company.
Okay,
Now
I got time on task. What's next?
So you got skill set because
Yeah.
in skill set is you get an exponential return on your investment on that. So for example, how many of you can remember the first time you put a listing into the MLS? Probably took you like 5 hours or the better part of a day. I saw Brian driving down the road, entering in an MLS because he's done it 500 times. And now I can do it without even thinking about it. And what happens is as soon as you get that skill set, you get an exponential ROI on it. You get time on task and experimentation is the third one.
Okay.
Now, my friend Cheryl Hauk, who some of you may know, I think she was like 5th in the company last year. She came to me and said, Hank, you're at EXP. Let's talk about it. I'm thinking about joining. And I'm like, don't. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, it's a shit show. You're a single mom. I love you. And I don't want it to hurt your business. She goes, Hank, I'm a big girl. It'll be okay. I said, all right, don't be mad at me when you come over and it fails. Who thinks I set the proper expectations for Cheryl? So Cheryl came over, and what happened was when Cheryl came over, there was another friend of mine that I said, hey, Cheryl's coming over. She thinks it's a good idea. And he goes, I think it's a good idea too. So those two came over. Here's what happened. Cheryl closed 4 deals in her first 2 weeks. And she's like, Hank, this is awesome. I was like, wait, what? You came over to EXP and it's been awesome? She goes, yeah. She goes, it's so much better for my business. So when I experimented, my experimentation was being honest with my truth. I got a victory because I care about Cheryl. When I got that victory, how much more confidence did I have when I believed in it? A lot. So from June of 2017 till January 1st, how many people do you think I recruited once I had confidence around EXP?
100.
Close, 95.
Okay.
So some of you, what you need to do is you need to work on your skill set. You need to work on your time on task, and you need to experiment enough until you get a victory and you get some confidence, because until you have confidence, I don't think you should be EXPing on everyone.
Don't ever EXP on people, please.
No, and I did it. I had so much confidence. About 3 months after Cheryl came over, I took Amy Brohammer and put her in her headlock. And I said, Amy, I love you and your husband. I know that when I know something, I know it, and I can't EXP all over you, but you need to trust me. You need to follow me. Otherwise, we will fall out of relationship because we won't be on the same team. She came over. She has over $1 million because of stock right now. Who thinks that Amy loves me because I put her in a headlock and I had the relationship where I could do that? So here's where I want to go with this. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week is 5 hours. 5 times 50 is 250. Who here has been here for at least a year? I promise you, you would be further along if you just committed to 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, consistently, because here's what most people do. Their intensity is like this. They don't get results, or they start chasing commissions because commissions is short-term income, and then it falls off. It's kind of like going to the gym on January 1st. This isn't the year. Hey, look at me in the gym, spend $500 on new workout clothes, and then come March, you aren't even going anymore. Rev share is about consistency. Let me say that again. Rev share is about consistency. So here's what happens. Give me an hour a day, 5 days a week for 50 weeks, and you'll be in shape. Once you get in shape, now we are no longer experimenting. We've identified activities that will get results. Then what we do is we make it a math equation and we stay out of the drama. Here's what the drama is. In Liz Smith, Brian Copeland stole Robert from me, and I've been talking to him for 3 months. And blah, blah, blah. You guys suck. Good God. Sooner or later, you're going to lose somebody. And guess what? You've only got to bet 300 to be in the Hall of Fame. And here's what I told my rev share line. I will not talk about the drama until we talk about the math. Perfect. How many people do you have in your pipeline? That was the only one. Okay, so even if you won, you're still a loser and one person isn't going to do it. So like, stop. If you have 99 listings and you lose one, does it bother you? No. So here's what we need to do. We need to figure out your math, what it is that you want to accomplish, and then figure out the schedule. So let's just use my math. By the way, do you guys like Excel spreadsheets? Oh, hey, Elizabeth, can you
Yep,
make me a
I'm getting
host?
it. Yep.
Thank you.
I'll-
Do
got
you
it.
like Excel spreadsheets?
I do. Great question. I like them because you know what? I'm not that smart and I believe math. So in June 2017 is when my first person came over and I made $443. So my simple math back then was, hey, 4 closed deals, I make $443. Next month was 867. Who can guess how many deals closed the next month that I got paid on? 8. Next month was 3,500. 42 deals closed. All of a sudden I was like, wow, this is a real income.
Oh my
Now,
God.
the reason I show you this is what you track can now be measured and adjusted. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you track every single day. The screen of my EXP. You might be thinking, Hank, what's my EXP? You need to check that out. Don't ask me right now. You need to be resourceful. And my dollar per hour is too high to explain what that is. So here's what I'm going to show you next. As soon as I got committed to revenue share on the 18th, or in 2018, I started tracking my my front line and my overall group. There's over 1,000 entries in here. Who thinks that when every single day you're entering your numbers, your subconscious is saying he's committed, he's not interested? Guess who discovered the buffer? Or that something wasn't right? I did.
What does
You know
that mean?
why? The buffer is where we pay out 50% of our revenue. So if $1 comes in, 50 cents is paid to revenue, 50 cents is paid to the company. My math wasn't adding up because at one point I had more agents in my rev share. I had more transactions and I made less money. Who thinks I was asking some questions?
Ha,
This was right about when we became public, our revenue's going up, but our profits staying the same. I'm like, what is going on? I was pissed. Only to find out Glenn was overpaying us. How many of you, if you overpaid your cap, you paid in $24,000 when it was supposed to be 16, would have asked for the money back?
Oh,
Say
wow.
aye. Here's what Glenn did. He was paying out over 50% because some of us had recruited so well. He didn't have a plan in place on what to do if some of us over recruited, so to speak. So he did the honorable thing and overpaid us until he found a solution. Who thinks I very quickly just kind of said, oh, never mind. We'll be quiet now. So here's my point behind this. Show me your calendar. Show me what you're doing to track. And I'll let you know how much I'll bet on you about whether or not you're going to win in revenue share. Here's what I believe to be true. If you will give 1 hour a day for the next 5 years, you will figure out how to take one listing a quarter, one agent a quarter. That's if you suck. Most top people are recruiting less than one a month. If you look at the numbers and we look at retention, most of us average less than one a month. How many of you are in this for the long run? Say aye.
Aye.
If you can list homes, help buyers and sellers, you can do revenue share. Now, here's why most won't do it. They don't understand their math. At some point, you got to get out of trading dollars for hours and get out of the transactional income, Elizabeth, and start going fully to leveraged income. Now, by the way, I'm giving Elizabeth crap. She's 10 times the size of my organization. She's an unbelievable listing agent. And at the end of the day, there's only so many hours in the day. I would much rather see Elizabeth helping more agents than selling more homes. Now, who agrees that Elizabeth's awesome and I shouldn't be telling her anything? So I'm being judgmental and I'm just giving my perspective as her little brother. And just because I say it doesn't mean it's right. Now, here's where I'm going with this. Right? Ask yourself this question. Do you have an income problem? I think most of us know how to make money. Most of us from time to time will have a cash flow problem, meaning we haven't managed it, whether it's because of taxes or our lifestyle goes up where you think it's just going to keep coming in and coming in. Once we don't have an income problem, we need to solve our cash flow problem. Here's what it looked like for my wife and I to solve our cash flow problem. For us, it was $50,000 sitting in our money market account already through the tax filter. That was where there was enough money for us to feel okay, but not so much money where we got lazy. Everybody's going to feel different on what solves their cash flow problem. I would encourage all of you to figure out what that sweet spot is for you. Once you solve your cash flow problem, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. What's your net life number? And here's what a net life number is for us. We need to make blank every single month for the rest of our life to win. That number for my wife and I is 30 grand a month. We make 30 grand a month for the rest of our life. We never have to worry about anything. Now, yours might be 10 grand a month. It might be 15 grand a month. Yet here's why the net life number is important. When you hit that number transactionally and you're no longer worried about cash flow, I want you to consider subtracting out some transactional income to get leveraged income. Now, never say passive income in front of me. There's nothing passive about at RevShare. There's nothing passive about my rental properties. There's nothing passive about any income stream that I have. Subtract out transactional income and look for a leveraged income. So here's what my wife and I did. Whenever an income stream hit that net life or $10,000, we would go to our board of directors and say, what are we going to subtract in order to multiply? And yes, it's tattooed here also. Subtraction leads to multiplication. This is why I'm on Elizabeth about not doing listings. There's no multiplication in doing listings. There's multiplication in other areas that she has investments. So when we look at this, rather than do 600 in transactional income, I'd rather do 360 in leveraged income because it buys my time back. Who here would like more time and more consistency in their income? Say aye. You can't do that if you're responsible for showing up in order for that income to happen. So who's like what I'm throwing down here so far? Here's the reality. You'll never get everything that I'm throwing down here in 60 minutes. For those of you that don't know, I'd suggest that you show up, sign up for the Rockstar Agent, where you'll have access to all of this every single week, where I'll be throwing it down. It's the least expensive access you've ever had to me on a consistent basis. It's $96. You'll have access to myself and other coaches. And you're like, oh my gosh, he's selling us on something. If you have that mindset, you're a victim. And $96 times 12, I can promise you this. You run with me 50 hours over the next year, it'll be the best ROI you've ever spent. 96 times 12, $1,200. I promise you, you'll make more than $1,200. So yet I digressed. When we look at this, we got to figure out where our income's coming from. And then we need to figure out the math equation on where we're spending our time. Who likes to bet? Who likes to gamble? All right, Matt. How are you, Matt? Are you in a spot where you can talk?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit.
Perfect. So Matt, 2016 is when I joined EXP. Pick a year between 2016 and today, any year.
Okay. 2020.
2020. Go ahead and pick a month.
September.
September 2020. Go ahead and pick a day.
The 9th.
The 9th. I will bet you any amount of money that you want. If it was a work day, I can tell you what I did every hour on the hour for at least 3/4 of that day. How much do you want to bet?
$100.
Do you? Okay, $100 to extend a care, extend a hand. Does that sound fair?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, who thinks that I had confidence around that? Why do you think I had confidence around it? Because since 2016, I've tracked every single hour of my workday. And when you track your hours, are you able to say, if I do this, then this will be the outcome? So it's September 9th, 2020. Let's go ahead and look at my schedule here. Who can see that?
Yep.
Every hour on the hour was tracked. Now, here's what happens when you track every hour that you're working. Anytime you get an outcome that you don't desire, you get to go back and say, okay, what did I believe to be true when I put this in my schedule? And what is the outcome that I got? Here's what I'm asking for each and every one of you to do. Track 1 hour a day where you could defend it in court on what you did towards building your revenue share group. 5 times 50 is 250. 250 times 5 is 1,250 hours. Unless you suck, after 1,250 hours, how many of you think that you'll find some success? Yes. You'll have the skill set. You'll have the time on task. You'll no longer be experimenting. You'll know, if I do this, then this will happen. You'll get victories, you get confidence, and by that time, you'll be in momentum. And then whether or not people want to know what to say it or not, every influencer with more than 1,000 people has gotten lucky along the way.
What are
Where
you
they
doing
got-
hour?
What's that, Andrea?
What are you doing in this hour?
Great question. And everybody wants the how-to, and the how-to isn't the answer. Here's what I'm doing. I get committed to a goal. So here is my goal with revenue share, 996 agents. Now, when I joined the company, we had 1,000 agents. Took Glenn 7 years to get 1,000 agents on his shoulders. So I come to the company and I was like, what's $1 million? Because I like to make $1 million. And at the time, we thought it was 996 agents. So I set a goal of road to 996, meaning I thought, I'm going to go on this road and I'm going to get to 996 agents. And then when I do, it's, oh, sorry, there's an animal that just walked into my garage and I was like, whoa. So here's what I did. I just started spending 1 hour a day trying to figure it out. Now, when you first walk in a gym, do you have any clue what you're doing? You don't. So here's what I want you to do. Make a commitment towards a goal, 996 agents. And what I want you to be willing to do is spin your wheels. And here's where most people get it wrong. Hank, I missed my hour today. Well, why'd you miss your hour today? Because I had a closing and this came up. So if you had a listing and you were at a listing appointment, would you not have gone to that listing in order to fix this? Well, no, I would have gone to the listing. Okay, so what you're saying is you have not made a firm commitment on that hour of getting it done. How many of you never miss listing appointments like I didn't? Raise your hand. Here's what I want you to do. Treat your attraction hour the same as you treat a listing appointment. Now, I know I'm a little bit all over the place. I got up pretty early this morning and my Ritalin's probably wearing off. So let's look at this. My freedom number was $1 million a year. I'm making about $500,000 because my numbers were off because we didn't know what we didn't know. We were guessing. Here's what I love about the opportunity that you have right now. It's math. We know if you do this, then this will happen. So here's what I believe to be true. And Andrea, I'm getting back to your question. 500,000 divided by 50. That's 50 is the number of weeks that I'm working. I'm allowing 2 weeks off is $10,000. 10,000 divided by 5 is 2,000. Knowing what I know now, those hours that I spent in the first year and a half, I'm now making $2,000 an hour every single year because of the hours that I put in back in 2016.
Wow.
Is everybody tracking me? Yet here's the thing. I didn't know I was going to be making 2,000. You guys know the math. If you get over 1,000 people in your revenue share, there's a good chance that it's worth 500 grand a year. So here's what I want you to do. Consider what your net life number is and what you believe you can go make in revenue share and make the pain of not showing up for that hour instantaneous. So for example, Andrea, if you're committing to this 1 hour a day and you want to make 500,000 based on my example, here's what I want you to do. If you miss your hour that you scheduled, you have to take $2,000 and burn it. Feel that pain immediately. See, most of us don't feel the pain of not doing what we need to do immediately when it comes to revenue share. We feel it when it comes to a listing, because if you have a listing appointment and you don't go on it, there's a good chance that you're not being invited back. Fair or unfair? Yet with revenue share, you might not see the rewards of your efforts for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You have to believe. So the first thing is believe. The second thing that you asked about, Andrea, what are we doing during that time? You're going to be doing and 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 doing. You're going to be doing the 80% that gets 20% of the results because you don't know what to do yet. And here's what happens when you keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, you get better skill set, you get more time on task, the experimentation, you get a victory, so you get confidence. Here was what I was doing with before Cheryl came, just getting to know the company. And what I knew of the company, it sucked. So what I was doing was getting to know it, then I was honest with the people coming over. And when I was honest with Cheryl, Cheryl's still here to this day, and she's winning at a super high level. Who thinks that once I got that victory, I knew a little bit more what to do? Too many people get caught up in what to do, and they need to get more committed on being, or more committed on figuring out the outcome. And how that is by doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and doing within while doing without. Can we all agree that this is less of a how-to problem and more of a commitment problem? Because when somebody's committed, they'll figure it out. Now, will we help you with the how-to? 100%. 100%. But I can tell you, most people are failing. It's not a skill set issue. It's a believing issue. It's a commitment issue. Questions, comments, concerns so far?
Are these 996 people you personally know?
No, I don't know the majority of them anymore. I know my
And-
first line, and then I know some people scattered throughout. No, I can't. You can't know 996 people. Here's what I do know. You can have about 120 relationships. Now, how do I know this math? Because I was in my mentor's office scrolling through my phone and I saw that someone's dad died. And you know what the extent of my give a fuck was? Sad face. And I thought, what is wrong with you, Hank? Someone's dad died and the extent of your emotion is a sad emoji? And I thought, well, wait a minute, let's look at this logically and have some critical thinking. If I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, can I physically get disturbed every time I see that someone's life has been turned upside down? I can. I'd be in the fetal position every day. So I started to study how many people can I actually care about? How many true relationships can I have? And it's about 120. So you got to make sure that you take care of your relationships. Elizabeth asked, hey, can any of you guys do Friday call at 10 o'clock? I said yes without even really considering. As long as my wife didn't have something for me, I said a yes. You know why? Because Elizabeth is in a relationship that's important to me. I don't work on Fridays. I don't. But a relationship wanted something, and Elizabeth's always been a giver with me. So I'm like, yep, I'll do it. How many of us need to take better care of our relationships? Say aye. Now, if you take care of your relationships, then you got to watch your energy. My energy most of the time after spending time with Elizabeth is higher. Not always, most of the time. And you don't know why not always? Because we actually care enough about each other to have real conversations. And if I take care of my relationships and I have the right energy, do I have to worry about my finances? I don't. But if I have relationships and I don't have the right energy, do I have to worry more about the finances? Yes. But here's the thing. If it's a relationship, it doesn't give me the right energy and it's only about the money. I'm not a whore, so I don't do things just for money. How many of you have some relationships that you make money off of, but they just suck the life out of you? Consider cutting them out. I went through 3 months of therapy, 2 calls with John Chaplack, and I cut the number one person, my number one income determiner, out of my life. Why? She sucked the life out of me. She would message me 30 times a day. So I have 36 A's and they all message me 30 times a day. And each message takes about 60 seconds from me. That's 30 minutes times 36. I would never get anything done. I have standards around me. Don't be needy. Because if my A's are needy, is there any way that I can service all of them? Nope. Here's what I know. If Elizabeth said, Hank, I need you, I would drop everything that I'm doing. And if it wasn't of importance, I'd be like, Elizabeth, what are you doing? But Elizabeth would never do that. You know why? Because she's not needy. How many of us need to put some standards and principles in our life? Say I. Where we don't have to think, if this, then this. So Andrea, here's what I've done with my schedule. Every hour is held accountable for a result. Every day of the week is held accountable for an outcome. How many of us need to get a little bit more math around what we're doing and not just fly by the seat of our pants? Subtraction leads to multiplication. Right now, I can make enough money for my family on a yearly basis if I don't show up to work. The only way that you're going to get there is to understand your money. Who needs to do a better job understanding their money?
Y'all do.
Who can tell me how I screwed up here? What's today?
Not the 15th.
It's not the 15th. Forgot to put the envelope in the mail on the 15th. Pay your taxes on time, or at least have your taxes done on time. Most of us are playing a football game. We don't know what quarter we're in. We don't know the score. We don't know if we're winning or if we're losing, if we're in the fourth quarter or the first quarter. If you don't know your financial numbers, you're trying to make plays, not knowing where you are in the game. How many of us need to grow up a little bit and start leaning into our numbers and not say, I'm too busy for that. I have an accountant for that. Like, it's not my thing. You know what? Grow up.
So I'm new in the company. What would be a good thing for my hour to get going? I'm in a town where I don't know people except
Yep.
the people.
Here's what you do. You got to get skill set. Go get confidence. Here's what I did. When I realized that it was time for me to win with revenue share, I went and YouTubed it. I YouTubed for a whole weekend. I locked myself in my garage. I had windows in a garage that were up high. I took the windows out and I lowered them down, and I listened to every YouTube video I could find. And the one that I hated the most was Tracy Gagnon's. It made me want to gag with a spoon. They're sitting on a beach. It was the worst video I've ever seen in my life. But guess what? Tracy was kicking my butt. She had 1,000+ people in her rev share. And I was like, well, okay, Hank, she must know something. Why don't you get out of your way, get out of the ego, and listen to what Tracy and Scott are saying? And I learned their script word for word. So the number one thing that you get, and by the way, Tracy's a friend of mine, and I've said this to her face that her video made me want to gag on myself. But at the end of the day, she was kicking my butt and we laughed about it.
What is her name?
Tracy Gagnon. She was married to Scott Lewis, and then they got a divorce, and then she married Dave Gagnon. I mean, all sorts of, it could have been like a soap opera. EXP has all sorts of soap opera lines. Now, here's what I can promise you. Our company has so much freaking dysfunction. It's like a big family. And here's the reality. What you focus on expands. And if you, hey, will you take Robert off the video? Good God, Robert, like, and by the way, people could take that the wrong way. People could get offended, yet it was distracting. Now, right there, some of you, I could tell you're coming to the rescue of Robert. I could tell some of you are like, yes, good God, the way you show up here is the way you're going to show up there. Again, no judgment. Yet, how many of us need to be a little bit more forthright with what's going on and then let the discussion happen? Fair or unfair? Or
Fair.
Elizabeth. So here's what I think all of us should start with: skill set. Once you have this skill set, nobody can take it away from you. Skill set has an exponential ROI. Then here's what I want you to do. Once you feel you have enough skill set, here's your number one goal. Have a call, book a call every hour. So when you see my schedule like that, here is my goal: to get another human being that I could serve every hour. Because if I serve a human being, they all know 100+ people. So I'm looking for referrals. I'm not looking for leads. Jen, did you like me when we first met?
Nah,
You were a little scary, I thought. You're pretty intense. No, but you know what? You're so spot on, because when I first came over and got into these groups, it was, just not chaos, but you know how it is settling into anything and flying by the seat of my pants. I showed up for like 3 of your sessions, like 10, 15 minutes late, and just like, oh my God, and you called me out. And I was like, you were so right. But that was,
But
obviously
here's
that
what I
was
like
then to
about it.
them. But no, I mean, you're so spot on. You call people out because you know it's going to make them better. And it's kind of like, cut the nonsense, cut the drama. Let's get down to business. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. And I wasn't. So I'm ready now.
I love it. And here's what I love about it is it wasn't like I had anything against Jen. Here's what it was. My standards are my standards. And if you don't meet the standards, it's okay. Now, Jen and I may have not set off on the right foot, and it doesn't sound like it was so much that, but yet we've been able to circle back around. And I know that Jen knows somebody that I really like and somebody that I look up to. His name's Jeff. Now, here's the reality. If you help enough people get what they want, well, you get everything that you want. And here's what I believe. If I serve another human being every hour on the hour, I'm one relationship away. And I'd rather have a referral than a lead. And so here's what I do. I look to get with another human being every hour, and I want to get to know them on a human level. If I get to know them on a human level, there's a good chance that we have much more alike than what we have different, even if they like Trump and I hate Trump, or I hate Biden and they love Biden. It doesn't really matter. We're still human beings. How many of us think we need to be a little bit more human these days and stop being so judgmental? Because I don't care who it is. If I'm broken down on the road and they see that I'm broken down on the road, and even though we might disagree completely on topics, if I need help fixing my tire and they can do it, they'll do it. Here's my point behind this. If your goal is to have a call and book a call every hour, the ideal thing would be for somebody looking to join EXP, right? That'd be the ideal thing. But what if we just look for people that we could serve? So who remembers earlier when I was talking about asking questions? So I like to ask questions for smoke versus fire. I used to teach a class called Bold. Anybody ever been to it? And I asked a question, who took the class, who took this class through me? Because of cease and desist, I'm not really supposed to ever say the word bold again, yet I digressed. God, family, business, but as long as, anyways. You know, anything that I say, don't say it at all. So I did a Facebook post, and it was, who's ever taken this class from me? Then from there, I got a bunch of people that responded. And then here's what I did. I reached out and said, hello. Everybody wants the best script. Here's the best script. Throw something out there where you have commonality, and then reach out and say, hello. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing, or you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So of that Facebook post, I reached out to the people that, one, I actually thought that I might like. I don't recruit people I don't like. You know why? Because if you recruit people you don't like, they're going to hang out with people you most likely don't like. So I found this chick that I thought that I liked. Oh, you said chick. Good God, we're all way too sensitive these days. And I said, hey, can you believe that it's been blank number of years? And then she had this thing about something on it. And I reflected back just through conversations. Then you know what she said? Hey, I'm thinking about coming back to EXP. Here's what I did first. I assumed that they already had a relationship that they'd come back through. Why? Because it's what I would want somebody to do for me. Hey, what caused you to leave? What would cause you to come back? Finally, she goes, hey, if I come back, could I join up through you?
no.
No, I didn't say it at all. I said, yeah, we can explore that. And here's the thing is, if she had joined through Elizabeth and then left, who thinks that because Elizabeth and I have a relationship, I'm going to do everything I can to get them back that way? Now, she may have joined through somebody who's already left the company. Yet here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be mindful, yet Smoke versus fire. How good are you at asking questions? I'm great at asking questions because I'll ask questions on the surface where people don't really know what I'm asking. For example, who can tell me what section 179 of the tax code is? Anybody?
Nope.
Did,
It's being able to accelerate depreciation on a vehicle that's over 6,000 pounds. If you don't know that, you don't know enough about taxes yet. So I ask a question like that, not because I need to know what it is. I'm asking a question to see who the higher level thinkers are, who the higher level money managers are, because I want to get to know people that have a higher level of knowledge when it comes to taxes. It's like when you go around and you ask a neighborhood, hey, what do you like about the neighborhood? I'm not looking for what they like about it. I'm looking for the one person that hates the neighborhood. When you get really good at asking questions, most of the time you're asking a question that's not really the question that you're asking, but you're asking a question that's more deeper, but you're doing a surface level to prime the pump. Is everybody following me with that?
right.
Is that upstream, downstream? I think Eli touched on that, right? It's like being specific versus being broad in your questioning.
Well,
Narrow it down or sort of.
yeah, it's I think that's a great question. I don't know Eli well enough, but that's probably where it's coming from, because oftentimes what we're doing is we're prescribing without proper diagnosis. For example, we have a homeless challenge here in Kalamazoo, and a lot of people through the best of intentions, we're trying to help them. Well, guess what? By trying to help them, they actually made the problem much worse. They actually caused much more damage than they did good, because the reality is they didn't properly diagnose. They just started prescribing. And so a lot of times what we have to do is, one, we have to properly diagnose to make sure what we're doing is the right thing. Yet before we do that, we can look at common sense stuff. For example, if you have a 22-year-old, here's a question that I like to ask. Hey, your mom and dad involved in the process? No, my dad's on the other side of the street. Inevitably, is dad going to get involved like 2 days before closing and try to change everything because he's going to throw his weight around? So like asking questions in the beginning oftentimes is you're trying to see, no, my dad died when he was 25, or, oh, wow, who's your dad figure? Figuring out different things so that you can get an ounce of prevention versus a pound of cure. Who thinks that we need to work on asking better questions, because there's many layers deeper on the initial questions that we ask. So there's way more than I could ever cut. We could take this one call and dissect every single topic that we talked about for an hour, and we'd probably fill the next 50 weeks. Here was my goal for all of you today. 1, add value. 2, have you believe enough of what we're throwing down that you'd like to join us on the Rockstar platform. Now, I don't make anything for promoting this.
None of us do.
In fact, I'm actually losing money because I've taken coaching clients and had them join the platform. And here's why: I believe in it. EXP right now, we talk at you, we don't talk to you. Hey, here's 50,000 emails that mean nothing to you. We're in Rockstar, here's our goal, and we're not there yet. If you want a revenue share track, we're going to be speaking to you on that. We're going to have gamification, because when you know your numbers, you're going to be more likely to have the outcome. Right now, we know you need X amount of points per week in order to get this outcome. Who would like to be able to say, hey, I'd like to get 100 people in my rev share? Well, Jen did this. She spent 5 hours a week. She averaged this many points a week, and here's how long it took her. Now, Crystal, who's obviously more talented, way better looking. And by the way, I usually use that against me because I'm not that articulate. I'm not that good looking. I'm not that smart. Yet I kick almost everybody's butt because I'm consistent. Our goal is to gamify it so that you can have points, and with points and kind of like a community and like that hierarchy, we hope that we'll be able to help get more predictable results by using it. We have it for production. We have it for revenue share. Now we're in the beginning phase. So if you needed everything perfect, don't jump on. If you want everything to be perfect, wait. But then when it is perfect, you'll be like, oh, I got it too late. Now it's $300 a month instead of $96 a month. Good God, if that's you, you can find anything to complain about. But if you'd like to be on the front end of things, sign up for Rockstar. It's $96. Anything else, Elizabeth? We got 2 minutes left.
Is this helpful, guys? Always
It
fun to have
was
Hank
helpful.
come in and bring the fire. Yeah,
Perfect.
Hank, you're awesome, my
Mhm.
friend. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, I've been sending messages on the Rockstar platform. And so y'all sign up for it because we're gonna pick production teams soon. And it's fun. I mean, we've all been a part of it. Hank and I were a part of it as the beta, just that competition kind of fuels all of us. So we want you guys to win big. And like you said, it's either on the traction or you can do production or whatever, but we're going to pick those teams soon. So jump on that. But regardless, Hank, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in here and just loving on everybody for this hour
Hey,
this morning
I have
on
a
a day that you
question.
don't work.
Can I
Yeah.
come skiing with you next year?
You know that's open. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
love
you'll
it when-
probably be on the crazy ones and I'll be stuck on, the blues and greens, but that's okay. I don't know. I know how crazy you are, Hank. I can't imagine you on a ski slope. So
Oh, it's nuts. It's
Yeah.
it's fun though.
bring the
All right.
family. We're in.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a good Friday.
Thank you, guys.